Programming paradigm, it's a term you may have heard before, but what exactly does it mean? In simple terms, programming paradigm refers to the approach or methodology used by programmers to solve problems using computer programming languages. It's like a way of thinking and organizing code that guides programmers on how to structure and write their code. There are different programming paradigms, and each has its unique characteristics and benefits. The most common programming paradigms are imperative programming, object-oriented programming, functional programming, logic programming. Imperative programming, this programming paradigm is based on the concept of commands or instructions that tell the computer what to do. It involves the use of variables, data structures, and control structures to solve problems. In other words, it is a way of programming where the programmer tells the computer exactly what to do, step by step. For example, if you want to make a cup of tea, you would give the computer a set of instructions such as boil water, put tea leaves in a cup, pour hot water into the cup, and so on. Imperative programming is used in many day-to-day applications such as web development, game development, and mobile app development. Object-oriented programming, OOP. This programming paradigm is based on the concept of objects, which are instances of classes that have properties and behaviors. OOP is commonly used to create software with complex data structures and user interfaces. It is used to structure a software program into simple, reusable pieces of code blueprints, usually called classes, which are used to create individual instances of objects. In other words, it is a way of programming where the programmer creates objects that have properties and behaviors, and then uses those objects to build more complex programs. For example, if you want to create a program that simulates a car, you would create a class called car that has properties such as color, make, and model, and behaviors such as start, stop, and accelerate. You would then create individual instances of the car class, each with its own unique properties and behaviors. Object-oriented programming is used in many day-to-day applications such as web development, game development, and mobile app development. Functional programming, this programming paradigm is based on the concept of functions, which are mathematical equations that transform input data into output data. Functional programming is commonly used for tasks such as data analysis and processing. Functional programming is a programming paradigm that is based on the concept of functions, which are mathematical equations that transform input data into output data. It is a declarative type of programming style that focuses on what to solve in contrast to an imperative style where the main focus is how to solve. In other words, it is a way of programming where the programmer creates functions that take input data and produce output data without changing the input data. For example, if you want to calculate the square of a number, you would create a function called square that takes a number as input and returns the square of that number as output. Functional programming is used in many day-to-day applications such as data analysis and processing. Logic programming, this programming paradigm is based on the concept of logic, which involves creating rules and constraints to solve problems. Logic programming is commonly used for tasks such as artificial intelligence and expert systems. Any program written in a logic programming language is a set of sentences in logical form, expressing facts and rules about some problem domain. Rules are written as logical clauses with a head and a body, expressing facts and rules about problems within a system of formal logic. For example, if you want to create a program that simulates a traffic light, you would create a set of rules that define the behavior of the traffic light. These rules would include facts such as the light is red, the light is green, and the light is yellow, as well as rules such as if the light is red, then the light will turn green after a certain amount of time. Logic programming is used in many day-to-day applications such as artificial intelligence and expert systems. Logic programming is a way of writing computer programs that uses logical rules and constraints to solve problems. In this approach, you write down a set of facts and rules that describe the problem you are trying to solve, and the computer uses these rules to figure out the answer. For example, if you wanted to write a program that simulates a traffic light, you might start by writing down some basic facts about traffic lights, such as traffic lights can be red, green, or yellow. Then, you might write some rules that describe how the traffic light changes from one color to another, such as if the traffic light is red, it will turn green after a certain amount of time. By putting these facts and rules together, you can create a program that simulates a traffic light and behaves in a realistic way. This approach can be useful in many different types of programs, from expert systems that help doctors diagnose diseases to artificial intelligence systems that can play games or answer questions. Choosing a programming paradigm largely depends on the problem you are trying to solve and the specific requirements of the project. Some projects may require a combination of paradigms or the use of a specific paradigm to achieve the desired results. In conclusion, programming paradigms are the different approaches that programmers can use to solve problems using computer programming languages. Each programming paradigm has its unique characteristics, benefits, and drawbacks, and the choice of a programming paradigm depends on the specific requirements of the project.